Okay, and now we are recording as well. Perfect. Okay, so tonight's session we're going to talk through is training camps, the benefits of them, the do's and don'ts, and then we'll have a Q&A session at the end, not only for camps, but any other topics that you want to cover as well. We've got the pleasure of Steve as well tonight, so you've got a good knowledge base to ask any questions. So training camps, what are the key benefits of it? You can train like a pro. I mean, I don't know how many people have been on camps before, but it's a great experience just to get away from everything life throws at you and just literally focus on training and enjoying being around people that have a similar mindset. So you don't have to worry about work, family, or anything else. If we all know what our day lives are like. You get a meeting running on late and you miss a session, or you're up at the crack of dawn to go and find a pool to jump into to get your swim set done. So benefits of a training camp, all of that is taken away from you and you're literally there just to focus on one thing, which is yourself and training. You get things to do that, maybe you normally would skip these, when the pressure's on, the sessions on the plans that you'll skip and you'll miss, or you'll not be able to get the green across the board like we all like to do. You get to do your foam rolling and stretching. For me, this is the first thing that drops off my list of things to do when I'm short of time. I definitely neglect this. When I'm on a camp, I get the ability to spend quality time sitting in the sun with a foam roller. It's great. You get to do your mobility work. Again, you're outside in the sun, you're stretching, you're watching people swimming at the same time. If you're near the pool, it's just, a quality piece of time for yourself. And power naps, who doesn't like a power nap? We eat siesta in the afternoon. It's just superb. Even when I'm working and I'm working from home, if I can grab 20 minutes at lunchtime for a quick power nap, put the headphones in, get a nap on, shut my mind down for 20 minutes and, double espresso just beforehand. And then I wake up refreshed and ready to go again. So, who doesn't like that? And just laying around, we're all busy, we're all professionals, we're trying to squeeze in training around work and family and all the other commitments. So laying around in the sun and, don't dismiss the benefits of just that downtime and soaking up some vitamin D. If you're from the Northern Hemisphere, it's really tough to get the right amounts of vitamin D, especially looking out the window now, it's pitch black. So to get enough of that, it's very important. You probably all read books. I'm not a great book reader, but I get the opportunity then to spend some time reading a book as well. The next one for me is really important. Just being around like-minded people. There's a famous quote, and I can't remember what it was, but you surround yourself with enthusiastic, motivating people, and it rubs off on you. So to do that, and actually that's where me and Steve first met up, was on a training camp, and it was one of the most enjoyable weeks I've had. Not because of Steve, obviously, but because of the training camp, the whole experience. It was just really enjoyable, and like I say, just being around such a group of motivated individuals, and having that sense of fun. Gaining knowledge not only from the coaches, but from other people on the camp. Everybody's got insight into a particular race or different nutrition strategies you can tease out of them. Everybody's got their little things that they do that you can really gain some knowledge on. You don't have to take them all and use them all, but it's absorbing that knowledge from other people and expanding your own knowledge of the sport. Technical improvements. If you're on a coach-led training camp, you sort of want to get some technical improvements from the week away, or however long it's going to be. Whether that's swim technique or running technique, or anything specific on the bike that you want to improve on. So certainly you want to look at coming away with some technical benefits and improvements. And the facilities. Generally the camps are running really good locations, an on-site pool. So you're not driving 20 minutes or however far you're away from a pool. which is just eating into your day. You know, you're walking out of the accommodation, out of the room, and into the pool, hopefully the gym on site, and you know, hopefully you're on straight out onto the bike, onto decent roads and the hills, and of course, and obviously to build some friendships, which is key. And then there's do's, into some do's. So key thing here is research the camp. You want to make sure that it's, you know, going to be pitched at the right level. You know, if it's a club camp, you know, is it going to be, you know, an organized club camp, or is it just a bunch of club mates going away for a cycle? You know, so get your mindset in whatever you're going for and make sure it's the right approach for you. You know, if it's a coach camp, then, you know, looking at the agenda and the schedule. And I've mentioned swim times here. A couple of examples of different ways, different, you know, options for coaches and the way camps are run. A couple of camps I've been on, the swims are always done in the morning at 6 o'clock. And then recently I was on a camp there and the swims were done in the afternoon. And, you know, I never really thought anything of it. I was just used to getting up at 6 o'clock to go swimming anyway. But then when you think about it, you know, you work, you know, 8-10 hours a day. You get up early to do your swims when you're at work. Why would you want to get up early and do your swims at 6 o'clock in the morning when you're on a camp? You know, it's reducing your recovery time, reducing your sleep period potentially. So, you know, try, you know, if there's an option, have a camp with a swim in the afternoons. Get a bit of a lay-in, you can have breakfast, go out on the bike, and then do your swim in the afternoon. It's all down to personal preferences, obviously, and what the camp has to offer. But, you know, that's why it's key just to get an idea of what that agenda and schedule looks like. The number of groups and the level of the athletes within each group is good to get an insight of. You know, you want to be in a group where, you know, you're comfortable in that group at the right level. You know, it's cycling at your speed. You know, you don't want to be going on a camp with one group and, you know, it's way faster or way slower than you would like to be, because you're not going to get the benefits from that. So, you know, to try and get some assurances that it's going to be, you know, different groups for different abilities. The facilities, again, you know, trying to get somewhere with a pool on site is useful. You don't really want to be traveling around the country to a pool. Walking out your room into the pool is it's pretty bloody good, to be honest. It makes you feel like a pro. And then sort of try and get a gauge of what fitness level you need to have to go to the camp. You know, to get the most out of training camps, you don't really want to go there unfit. It's going to be a painful experience. So go there with a good level of fitness, and then, you know, get a boost from that. The fitter you are, the more you'll enjoy it, the more you'll be able to benefit from it. Yeah, so don't go there, you know, with zero fitness expecting to come out super fit, because that ain't going to happen. So go there with a reasonable level of fitness and then get a boost from that camp. And sounds obvious, but find out what's included. You know, will there be a swim analysis? Will there be some videos taken that you can watch and get, you know, opportunity to improve your stroke on it? Run analysis as well. So, you know, get into the devil of detail what's being offered, especially for, you know, a coached camp that you're paying good money for. Obviously club camps are a little bit different. You know, is the food included? And, you know, what's the accommodation? Is it shared? You know, is it individual rooms? Me and a friend rocked into a camp and then realized when we got there that it was a single bedroom with 2 single beds. So yeah, it was a little uncomfortable for a week, but anyway. And then pack carefully for the camp. You know, typically these are warm training camps we all try to get onto, but, you know, you'll always get periods, or potentially get periods of inclement weather, bit of cold, especially when you're descending. If you go in, you know, in the early months of the year, you know, your gilet and arm warmers are typically a good idea for when you're descending off some of the climbs if you're in a hilly region. Certainly get your bike serviced and take some spares with you. The last thing you want to do is go on a week's training camp and your bike breaks on day one because of lack of service and or poor maintenance. So, just invest as much time into packing and getting your bike and your kit ready so you can actually go there and enjoy the full camp. And I've mentioned nutrition 3 times here. I obviously take this stuff very seriously. Yeah, you're on a training camp. You're going to be doing probably more hours than you're used to. So it's time to really focus on nutrition. You don't ruin your camp just because you're not fueling enough. Typically a coffee stop on the bike, that's grand, but you're going to need to eat regularly on the bike. And it's a good time to start practicing your race nutrition, what you're going to use for any particular races coming up, to get your gut used to any particular night nutrition, or the quantity, and how often you're gonna take on board fuel. So it's a good opportunity to do that, even during the run as well. Take gels, just get your body used to it. And post-session protein shakes. If you come off a long bike, get a decent protein shake into you, because you've no idea how long dinner's going to be, and you don't really want to be going a couple of hours without eating after coming in off the bike. So always good to just take a few sachets of a protein powder with you. Listen to your body, and train appropriately. It's okay to take a day off.
By stealth. ġifieri din jaħbuha taħt il-pretext ta' saħħa l-mara.
So yeah, listen to.
Ma nafx. Jien ma nsegwix parlament.
I can find the mute button. I would mute him.
Yeah, Lorna, we need you to mute. Well, actually, I can't mute because I'm not host. Hang on. Okay, thanks, mate.
Cool. And then yeah, listen to your body and train appropriately. If you're getting tired and you're starting to feel fatigued, just take the day off. A recovery day is better than an injury and being out for a couple of weeks. So like I say, just listen to your body and get the most from the camp that way. And as we said at the start, there, power naps are essential. It's a great way of just recovering, being like a pro. And pros are always having a nap. I remember listening to a news article, and they had a pro athlete on. It wasn't a triathlete, it was another sport. I think it might have been possibly basketball. And the athlete was saying, a power nap for me is 2 hours in the afternoon. I'm thinking 2 hours is not a power nap. That's a half the afternoon off. So, but whatever suits you. If it's a power nap or a siesta, then get the most from the camp and utilize that time. And try and get there fresh. The last thing you want to do is start the camp fatigued, because that fatigue level will just build and build and build throughout the camp. So beforehand, worth just taking a couple of days, get the batteries recharged, and then hit the camp ready to go. And
just, can I add just on that, just another couple of things in terms of do, and you want to go back onto that slide. Also, if you are, like, again, training camps are a wonderful experience in general. Like, as I said, you can either go on a paid camp or a club camp. But one thing, if you are going on a paid camp, make sure you inquire about insurance. There are some people who put together camps and they haven't got insured, and they need to make sure that you're insured in case there's any accidents and any kind of medevac. Like, I've seen some camps that aren't pulled together well. That's one other thing. The other thing about getting your bike serviced, some camps, if you don't want to transport a bike, some camps will give you the option of rental bike over there, and they will have an option of, they'll give them the frame size, and you bring your pedals, and it means you don't have to do that. Now you pay whatever, 150 euros or something like that, but it means you don't need to worry about it, and it's one less thing to stress about. And in some of the camps I've been on, lands, some of the bikes have been absolutely top notch. And yeah, no, the rest of the stuff is, Mark is 100% spot on in terms of, you really need to figure out what the number, the groups, and what levels are they catering for you, as in that, if, as you said, you have to explain to them, whenever I average 24k an hour on my long bikes, and they go, fine, yeah, we've got a group for that. You don't want to turn up there and be either the top of the group as an all on your own, or being flogged at the back. And yeah, so that there's some other things I thought of as I thought about, but otherwise Mark's covered most of it. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Steve. And then we'll go into don'ts. So don't be that guy that or person that goes off all gung ho on day one, smashing everybody out, hitting the climbs, you know, being the top gun or the top dog, and then the next day they're laying in the bed because they've completely wrecked themselves. So, you know, just ease into it. You know, everybody's there to train, so don't beat yourself up on day one. It's going to be a long week, and typically, you know, the fatigue does build and build and build. You know, so if you can keep your powder dry for the first day or a couple of days and just, you know, hit the numbers that have been prescribed by the coach, then, you know, stick at that, and, you know, don't try and push the pace above what's being asked of you. Group selection, and this is what Steve was talking about there with, you know, what your typical average speed is, and, you know, what sort of group you're going to be in. It's tough on a club organized one because it will typically be self-seeded, and, you know, sometimes you will get people seeding themselves in the wrong group, which does, you know, does make it difficult sometimes on a camp. On a coached camp, it's less difficult because you're literally told which group you're going to be in, because the coach will have a reasonable idea before you get there of what sort of average speed, you know. So as long as you've given the correct numbers, then you'll be realistically in the right group. And look, it's worth being one of the stronger rather than one of the weakest in a group. You know, if you're one of the strongest, you're in the group, you know, you're working, you'll be at the front doing good turns. You know, if you're one of the weakest, you're hanging at the back, not taking your turn. You know, it doesn't you know, build a lot of confidence for you. So, you know, try and get into that right group. And then, you know, don't overindulge at the buffet. You know, I mean, I wouldn't call anybody out for doing this, you know, for overindulging at the buffet, but, you know, I do recall somebody, you know, at least
It
having
said all you could eat dessert. I thought it was a contest.
Well, you definitely won. I think 3 trips to dessert was enough.
Bring out my competitive spirit, and when it comes to creamed rice, I'll take anyone down. Kona, here I come.
Yeah, so yeah, we're there. You know, you are burning a lot of calories. You know, you are training 7 days in the sun, and all this glorious food laid out here on the buffet. The opportunities there are to overindulge. So, you know, try and keep a check on that. The last thing you want to do is come back with an extra couple of kilos after a training camp. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, there's no stupid questions. You know, get as much as you can from the camp. You know, just, you know, suck the information out of people, whether it's the coaches or other athletes. You'll always get, you know, we're a friendly bunch for athletes, you know, always willing to share is my experience. So, you know, any questions, especially on the bike, you're out for 4 or 5 hours. If you've got a question, just, you know, hit people up with it, and you'll get some decent answers. And then on the you know, on poster camp, you obviously you're on Steve's training plan. So plan a recovery week or an easier week, you know, coming back off a camp. You're going to need additional recovery time, you know, so lighter sessions, you know, no speed work, no high intensity bike sessions, just try and get a bit of recovery in there. And then you'll start to see the benefits from a training camp within, you know, sort of 5 to 10 days of coming back of the camp. You'll start to see that fitness boost. And then for me, I'm ex-military, so this is key for me. Don't be late for sessions. You know, there's nothing worse than you've got 10 people out there waiting to go on a ride, and there's always somebody that rocks in 10 minutes late because I'm faffing around doing whatever, getting bottles or pumping tires up. So a little pointer there, just, you know, try not to be late for for the camps or for the
I'd like to point out that that's not directed at me. It's
no, it isn't.
our other training partner. I am the one who eats too much. But just on that as well, the key point about the don't be afraid to ask questions. Not only, like, the coach will know a lot of the technical stuff, the scientific stuff and all the rest, but what you'll get out of your fellow athletes, and Mark's very polite, us triathletes, we just love to talk, right? We all love to talk. But they'll have done races that you might be targeting. They'll know stuff about courses. So the more you talk and the more you'll actually just really ramp up in terms of your actual knowledge. So it's really key to, and you can share, and it's also, you give and you take and you give. So you might have done Frankfurt and someone's doing Italy and they're sort of going, well, what's that like? you can really bring up your knowledge and actually become much more prepared for your race season. So that's also key. And the don't be late for sessions, absolutely key. Just, you don't want to be that person that turns up and they don't have the helmet and everyone's sort of tutting at you, because you'll become very unpopular in the camp. Turn up 10 minutes early. If you're sitting there, you're chatting to friends, no worries. Sorry, Mark.
Cool. And that's all I have. So we're going to turn off the recording. So let me stop that. I can find the button, 2 seconds. And,
Yeah.